Hi, Zizaran here, and welcome to Don't Die Like I Did. So, this is basically a RIP review series, and today we have two RIPs to review. A little bit of an unfortunate day, and while Ultimatum has been very good to me so far, it was a little bit rough. So far in Ultimatum, I've played 165 hours of Path of Exile, and most of that is obviously pretty active gameplay, and to this day, I only had the one death to Katarina. That changed when yesterday, I was leveling a new Inpulsa character, which I thought was really fun to play. Didn't have much single target, but it was just breezing through maps, literally one-shotting every big pack of monsters, because I was using the Inpulsa and Storm's Gift. Well, let's look at the death and see what happened. So... oh no, I never hit 80! No! So basically what happened here is, this is just a 74 map. I think my character is 74. No, actually my character is 78. It's got a decent amount of defenses and life. I'm obviously, I'm resist capped. I have 3 endurance charges. I am block capped. I think I'm like 68% block without a roomies. And with the roomies up, I am fully block capped, including spell block. And the spell block without the roomies is like 56 or 58. This is a Glancing Blow character, which is obviously the block is not as strong. What Glancing Blow does is that part of the damage goes through, 65% you still take. Obviously not as powerful as normal block, but still really decent defenses, especially for a level 74 map with not a single damage mod on the map. It is obviously a sub-fizz aura, and I think that gets killed. Yeah, that gets killed, so the sub-fizz aura is not even up when it kills me. We can play it in slow motion here. So it is just a wave from one of the monsters that hit me, and Legion has always been very dangerous in Path of Exile. Always been very dangerous. There's a few different night rares in Legion that are just incredibly dangerous. There are 2 or 3 different type of Marikets. Obviously, this one is fairly dangerous. There's another one that just like a ground slime type thing that I call it pocket sand. And there's another, I think it's a Kuroi archer that fires like a really quick burst that can easily take down characters that are not dodge or block. What I should have done here is probably just stayed more at range. I was underestimating the fact that the map had no damage mods, that I had a fairly tanky character, and my roomie falls off a few seconds before I die. Actually, yeah, my roomie potion, which is obviously a decent amount of armor and puts me up to full block, falls off around 0.2 seconds before I die, maybe 0.1. And obviously that is a little unfortunate, but having good flask management is very integral in Path of Exile staying alive. But either way, obviously when you are playing this many hours and playing in low maps, it's very easy to take things for granted, especially Legion, which is something you really shouldn't take for granted because it is a very dangerous mechanic. So again, just stay further away from Legion and you should be fine. So the next death was my experimental build, which is the Strength Stacker. Obviously I'm playing Trade League this league. There's no race, there's no event going on. So what I've been trying to do is play some different builds. I've been trying obviously the new skills like the Exsanguinate and Reap, which I've been calling Rend in pretty much every video. I've been trying the new shield, and I was trying like an Inpulsa explosion build. So I've been experimenting with a lot of new things and not just going for like the normal cookie cutter, easy get down bosses that I normally have. And that's honestly been doing pretty well. It's like, I think people have been enjoying watching me not play like super meta builds and making new builds that have turned out to be really strong. And this turned out to be the tankiest build I've ever played. So let's take a moment and look at the defenses. So if we look at my defenses here, I have, whenever I'm playing the game, I have 86% fire rest and 89% chaos. I don't take any cold and lightning damage. That is split between fire and chaos. And obviously it's been pretty easy for me to keep the max stress bonus up from the shield. And I have a video explaining this build because obviously it's a very complicated build. On top of those defenses that are up all the time, I actually have 63% block. And this is real block. I do not have glancing blows. And I was on my way to try to get 70, maybe 75 block on this character as well. I have 1900 strength, this is a strength stacker, so that's how I get my damage. And I do actually have a large amount of damage because I think I have somewhere between 2 to 4 million DPS. However, it's not it's not always up, and it relies a lot on wall ground slam, so bosses in particularly are very rough, whereas like map bosses or something I could just run in with my wall ground slam already charged, those were pretty nice, but sustained fights like this were particularly rough. If we look at the mods and everything, first of all, I'm still on a 5 link. I actually, in true Zizaran tradition, did not read and I did not realize I was starting the fight. And for the start of the fight, I was also forgetting I still have Shockwave in. I didn't know. I hadn't seen a video of this fight. I actually was hoping, well, you know, it's ultimatum. Hopefully there will be a bunch of monsters in the fight, giving me fast charges and giving me Val Ground Slam charges. There were not. There were no monsters in this fight. And that was really, really bad for my build. On top of that, players have Elemental Equilibrium, making me do 25% less damage and 28% more monster damage. So I basically have under half, maybe even less, of what my normal damage is, in addition to already being at a disadvantage because I don't have a good way to recharge my my Val Ground Slam and stuff like that. So let's take a quick look at what happened. No, I've lost so much today. Now, obviously, I'm extra sad here because I've already just died on my 6th Inpulsa character, and because I'm playing these non-meta and kind of weird, also kind of expensive builds, I don't really have that much currency, right? So it feels extra bad. Still not enough to make me not play hardcore, obviously. I still prefer that. Let's do a play-by-play and see what happens here. Now you can see, I have 6 endurance charges up, I have the max choice bonus up, and fortify is up. Now, here, pretty much instantly, and this proc's very, very early, you can see my endurance charges get removed, even though they're obviously instantly starting to come back because that's my ascendancy. So I have around, I have 1 endurance charge up, and I have Immortal Call. And Immortal Call is obviously doing a large amount here. We get 32% less physical damage taken, and 32% less elemental damage taken, and 15% less physical damage taken per endurance charge removed. And since I have 6, this is basically, I have over 90% fist reduction, like that gets capped at 90, and I have fortify on top of that, and we have the conversion. So I'm very surprised it killed me because we are completely capped on fist mitigation, and I am, and like my elemental mitigation, the last time I checked, I could tank like at least over 150,000, a very, very large amount. And this character can actually tank the Maven memory game in theory. So it was an insane amount of damage, and that's because I'm getting hit by so many things at the same time. This is a fight I've never seen before. I don't know what anything does. I've not seen a video of somebody fighting him, nor have I looked up the boss's abilities, which is obviously a very scary thing to do on hardcore. But again, I wasn't planning on fighting him, especially not on a 5 link. So what happens here is I'm getting hit by 4 skulls at the same time. That does around 1.3k damage, or 1.5k, and that's not the end of the world. However, there's something happening with this chain here. That seems to do a large amount of damage, does another 4k. There are three of these like frost bombs detonating on me. They probably do very little, but on top of that, he does a physical damage swing, and all of these things at the same time is enough to bring me down, even though this is by far the tankiest character I've ever played. Like I've had characters with like 85 res and 10k life that have been squishier than this. And on top of that, I have the block. So, I mean, obviously it was a little bit unlucky that the swing didn't get blocked. It was also very, very bad positioning. Obviously, I didn't really know where to stand, what to do. And honestly, the best case scenario here would have just been to leave the fight. I'm never shy about logging out from fights, and I don't really know. I was just... There was an Exalted Orb on the line, and that definitely kept me in the fight. Like, the reward before this had been an Exalted Orb. The next one was a Winged Scarab, and I hadn't seen that it was the Taskmaster, Trial Master coming up. Those were a combination of things that, like, took me out. And obviously, the boss's Frenzy charges. The poison doesn't really matter, because I have so high Chaos Rest. But it did a lot of damage. So that is pretty much everything that contributed to my death. Obviously, once I've fought the fight a few more times, especially with maybe not as much like tank modifiers, and probably ideally on a build that has a lot of damage, it should be fine. But obviously, learning fights in Path of Exile, most of them are pretty hard the first time you fight them. Either way, like, this isn't something I would say was an unfair death. This is inexperience on my part and something that's new. And that feels completely okay to die to. I fucked up and misplayed, and I have no problem with a death like this. There wasn't anything like going wrong. Either way, I hope you guys are enjoying this series of me reviewing the deaths and trying to explain and also talking about how I feel about them. Hope you guys are enjoying Ultimatum League. I'm not 100% sure what build I'm doing next, but we'll see. Anyway, sub if you liked the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.